Hi, I'm Gretchen Spiker with the City of Topeka.
And I'm India Yarborough with the Greater Topeka Partnership.
The Topeka Talk podcast is back for Season 2 for more meaningful community conversations.
We've got a great lineup in store, and we're excited to have you along for the ride this season.
Topeka and Shawnee County held its 42nd annual Small Business Awards in early May, recognizing a handful of local businesses that are making an impact and leaving their mark on our community.
The awards, put on by Go Topeka, honored 9 small businesses for their growth, innovativeness, vision, community engagement, and more. They were selected from 25 finalists, and to be eligible for an award, businesses had to be located within Shawnee County and have 100 or fewer employees.
One such award winner was Dialogue Coffee House, which took home this year's Young Entrepreneur Award. Founded by Caitlin Halsey in 2019, Dialogue Coffee House has an incredible mission of employing and empowering adults with disabilities. Some exciting news with Dialogue is that this spring they were acquired by the Capper Foundation, which has a similar mission. With the purchase, Halsey is becoming Capper Foundation's first employment services director, and Dialogue will continue to offer the same great coffee and service we have all grown to love. Congratulations to the entire team on this well-deserved honor.
Another one of our award winners was Bimini Pet Health, a Topeka-based startup that just last month signed on as the 4th corporate partner of the local animal health accelerator Plug and Play Topeka. Bimini took home this year's Small Business Manufacturer Award.
There were so many great finalists, and we'll be sure to cover all the winners by the end of this episode. But now we'd like to turn our attention to one very special award winner, our 2023 Top City Small Business of the Year.
That's right. This year's Small Business of the Year award went to Senne Company. And joining us in the studio today to talk about the honor and the business is Senne President Matt McGivern. Matt, congratulations and welcome to the Topeka Talk podcast.
Thank you very much, India and Gretchen. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we are thrilled that you're here, Matt, and excited for the community to learn a little bit more about Senne Company and all you guys do. So let's go ahead and dive right in. To kick the conversation off, can you give us the 30,000-foot overview of what Senne Company is all about? What do you guys do? What do you make?
All right, so I want to go back to Dialogue Coffee really quick.
Hey, we love the business community love.
Yes.
If Capper Foundation's listening, they need to keep the peanut butter cookies going at Dialogue.
So good. I second that motion.
Yeah, they have some really good cookies.
They're so good. So let's see, a high-level view of Senne. We are a commercial and industrial construction company. And what we do is we have 3 divisions. A general contracting division is probably what I would expect you to would probably know more as for that. Remodels, school remodels, new buildings, commercial construction is the bread and butter of that general contracting side. Now, I think what kind of makes us a little bit more unique, and we'll probably get into it in a little bit, is because we've been around so long, we've kind of been able to mold ourselves and change just a little bit with companies like Goodyear and Frito-Lay and those big manufacturers when they came to town. But we have an industrial millwright side, and the millwrights are they're big, heavy equipment setters. So those guys, they go in and they don't use tape measures. They use lasers. They're 1/1000th of an inch measurement increments is what they do. So they'll set, let's just say a pump in an oil refinery, maybe a pump that's the size of this room right here, a 10 by 10 by 10 cube, and they make sure they set it perfectly. And those guys, they travel a little bit, so they'll do work locally at Goodyear, for example. Foodamore is a great customer. There's quite a few here in town, but anyway, those guys their work travels, and so they're not only in Shawnee County, but they'll be outside of Shawnee County as well. And then what we've done recently here over the last couple of years, we've always fabricated steel for our jobs, but we've invested heavily in that fabrication and increased the capabilities quite a bit on that. So I would say that the 3rd division of our company right now is a custom fabrication side. So that and they're outsourcing work also now for other contractors. Or a big part of that shop though is we fabricate our own steel. So they'll fabricate steel for the general contracting side, and they'll fabricate steel for the millwright side. And that fabrication shop is I would say it is not a high volume shop like a lot of other fabricators in town are. We have a lot of steel fabrication in Topeka, and I don't know if you guys know that or not. There's a lot of really, really good companies that are into metal fabrications. Now, our side, our fabrication shop we're not a supplier of steel. We're a design, fabricate, and install. That's our niche. Okay. So we will build something. We had a customer, a very, very good customer, the Honest Kitchen, that moved here from California. And you guys were a big part of moving them here. GTP especially was. That was a very, very special job. There was a lot of a lot of design, fabrication, and then installations of custom. We're talking mezzanines, catwalks, specialized bins to funnel their material, conveyors, things like that. And a company like that, they're a dog food manufacturer. A company like that really found that very, very invaluable, having that, not having to go to a steel supplier, fabricator, and having a different installer. So that would be the third division of our company.
Gotcha. It sounds like you have really kind of built a niche for yourself, especially given, how many other steel-related companies there are in the area.
And Matt, I was just going to ask, with that fabrication, is that sign-related? For some reason, I recall maybe that Senne had unveiled at a Business Unwind event, like a new sign fabrication, or am I just making things up?
There was some new equipment.
New equipment, yeah.
So there was a lot of investment made. In 2020, things got a little scary slow. Our jobs, once March of 20 hit, that were rolling off and ending, there was nothing out there, so it was a little bit scary. Mm-hmm. And what we decided to do is let's just go all in on the fabrication side. So what you probably saw was a CNC plasma cutter.
Okay.
So I believe that's what you saw. And then if people are thinking about signs, a customer like the Beacon, they've hired us. So that fabrication side is getting more and more into commercial work instead of just pure industrial work.
Got it.
Heavy mezzanines, things like that. We've designed and are going to install a big monument sign for the Beacon on Topeka Boulevard, and then it'll be very one of a kind.
Yeah.
It'll
just like the building itself, right?
Just like the building itself, absolutely. Yeah. Just like the building itself. And it won't be a sign cabinet, a plastic one like you see everywhere. It's going to be a very custom, unique, have some Art Deco flair to it, some powder coated blacks and aluminums. It's going to be.
Can't wait to see it.
I think it'll be a head turner, but that's a very, very small thing. That fabrication side, we're working with John Hunter right now. Do you know John Hunter?
I don't know if I do.
Okay.
Shed some light for us.
John is one of the first people that saw opportunity in Noto for an arts district. And we're talking over a decade ago now.
Gotcha.
It would have been John and some other folks early on.
Predates my time in Topeka, just
just a bit.
and nobody even knew what Noto was. Or Noto didn't exist. It was a bunch of, there's a few good contractors that are still there. But it was a bunch of empty buildings, and John saw that opportunity, I think in Oklahoma City on one of our inner city trips is where he kind of got that.
Okay.
But anyway, hey, John, he is retiring, and he wants a staple in town that folks will kind of remember him by. And he's got a project, it's called Serenity. So we're going to build a custom piece of artwork for John. It's going to be 20 feet wide, 10 feet tall, made by the millwrights. The millwrights that are installing the same oil pump, they're going to make John's piece of artwork and install it. And it should be pretty special in Redbud Park this summer. So
awesome. I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I love grabbing that fabrication and millwright side and bringing it over to a commercial application because that really differentiates us. So that is that is probably our biggest difference between, hey, why is Senne different than everybody else? That's it.
Right. Well, and another thing that I think sets you guys apart a little bit is your history in the community. I understand you have a history dating back more than 100 years, starting with is it George Senne in the early 1900s. I was hoping you might be able to touch on that a little bit. Given how far you guys have come and kind of the variation of work you do now, what can you tell us about the history of Senne and how the business has kind of evolved through the decades?
Well, I wasn't there for it, so I can't get too specific. But here's what I do know. Here's what I know. And I know George's grandson, Bruce. I know George's son, Wilbur. Mm-hmm. George, obviously, I never knew. But George started Senne Company in 1914. But George started working as a contractor before that for other Topeka contractors. And back then, it was a lot of wood frame, a lot of he built a lot of potwin. And George grew up in Potwin. He got into commercial construction at the time of World War I.
Okay.
So World War One, he was at Fort Riley, and they were really building up barracks,
Okay.
halls for the higher up people. I think he built a pool hall there
Oh, wow.
for playing billiards, and that was one of his first commercial jobs. So World War One is what dragged Senne into commercial construction.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but
Yeah.
and I want to say the Spanish flu. I think they were building barracks and other things for that too back then. But anyway, so yeah, World War One dragged us into commercial construction. George back then, he was, from what I've read, and there's some magazine articles, trade magazine articles from the 50s that recount some of the history of George was telling us. So that's, where a lot of the information comes from. Let's see, George, we survived the Great Depression, and I know he took, the Jayhawk Theater just got that big award. George took
Yeah,
the
$5 million sprint grant. Pretty excited about that, huh? Downtown Topeka.
So good for Topeka.
So good, yeah.
It's unbelievable. But, just tying all that in, George was, in this magazine article, it said George took the entire staff when nobody had anything to do. There was no work at all, and the world had just crashed, but George took the staff to the Jayhawk Theater because it was one of the first air-conditioned buildings in town over the summertime, and he didn't want to let anybody go. He kept all his key people, and I think some of that philosophy or just some of that long-term, we're not in it for the short haul, we're in it for the long haul, that is still, we're very, very much operate that way today. Nobody is thinking in terms of next year or the year after. We're all on 10-year horizons.
Yeah.
We're looking at things when we're kind of making big decisions for the company, and that's how we're here to be around for another 50 years.
Well, and it sounds like there's, just based on the story you told with the Jayhawk Theater and taking in employees there back in the day, it sounds like there's a real emphasis on the people, which I feel is kind of a theme among small businesses, but it sounds like that definitely rings true for you guys.
Absolutely. And I would say, the small business, the people that were on that small business ceremony and the awards and the contestants and everybody, and by the way, we were so surprised. They just can't believe that
That's so
we
cool.
won that thing.
That's awesome.
But there must have been something wrong with the voting. I have no idea, but those companies right there, here's why I like those small businesses. And a lot of the banks that were sponsoring the event, a lot of the smaller banks, what we like is decisiveness, the ability to make decisions without going through layers and layers and layers and kind of just indecisiveness, or nobody ever having authority to do things.
Right.
So we like flexibility. We like people being able to use their head and think about things, come up with the best answers and solutions, and then acting, the authority to go. So that is kind of, because we like doing business with these small businesses. We want to stay a small business. We don't want to grow outside of being somebody who can rethink things, who can help customers, who can act, with flexibility and things like that.
Right.
And once you grow to a certain size, it kind of pulls you out of that to where your decision makers are up a layer or two higher, and
Just a little bit more removed from the
Empowering,
ground problems.
yeah, empowering people at all levels to make decisions, and
yep.
yeah,
And another thing is, we intentionally want to stay a small business. The good news is Topeka's had so much work here lately that, we've been able to grow without growing our geographic footprint, which has been very, very good. And
it's exciting. Yeah,
And that's an interesting, actually, perspective on a case for growing Topeka, right?
Yeah.
To continue to have that sort of customer base for small businesses in our area that provide a variety of services. That's just an interesting point I wanted to kind of highlight there.
And Matt, Indy and I have personally seen and experienced Senne team members out and about in the community. It's clear to us that your team, like we've been talking about, is engaged and involved in the community. Why do you personally feel that being involved in the community is important, and what impact have you seen from this involvement?
Well, I would tell you this: a rising tide, everybody benefits from. And the things that I've noticed is over the last 5 to 10 years is organizations like GTP have really changed the attitude of Topeka. There's no reason why people need to think down on this town or always view us as we have so many good things here, and we don't need to be the same as somebody else. We don't need to see another town and say we must be like that. We just need to be ourselves, and there's so many good things here. And it is such a good place to live and raise a family and work. And we're in such close proximity to everything else too. I mean, I think it's a total win-win. We have so much to offer. But as far as just helping the community, I mean, we help people. I mean, that's at the end of the day what we do. And any small business will say that. It doesn't matter if your niche is construction, or I'm thinking Chavez Restoration, their niche is the cleanups and the insurance claims.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever your niche is, at the end of the day, all you're doing is helping people, problem solving, and dealing with people all day, every day. So if there's a need in this town where we can help out and we can use what our niche and our subject matter expertise is, we just want to do it. I mean,
yeah. And I do feel like that's a real strength of this community. I mean, I can't count the number of times when I moved here, people would tell me it's the biggest small town you're ever going to live in. And there is that sort of mentality that kind of stretches into just the way people do business, I feel like, and the way people connect with the community and how they use their business to uplift certain aspects of the community. So it's interesting to kind of hear you echo that in a way.
And I think, I mean, doing that kind of stuff, you want to be around people that are out there with positive attitudes, that want to help, that have ideas, that are sometimes they're outside the box a little bit and they're a little bit crazy, but then when you go with them, I mean, you just realize how many good things can happen, with a little trust and good faith, and good things can come together. And I know when I was sitting at that small business award, I just realized, like, we get away from large corporate vendors and we stick to small businesses. And every now and then when we're caught up with one, we say, what are we doing here? Let's get with so-and-so here in town. And there's just so many benefits to that.
Right. Well, and before we kind of touch on some of the other award winners for the Small Business Awards, of course, you've already touched a good bit on some of the amazing projects that your company is doing for different clients in the area. Are there one or two that you're kind of most proud of, or that you think are really going to kind of leave behind a legacy?
Listen, every project is special, so it's hard to.
It's a great point.
Yeah, that's very fair.
I mean, you could throw the contract dollar amounts out the window. When somebody like, let's just say, Darlene Morgan and Chris Hartman at Milk and Honey say, hey, we are leaving our careers, we're going to invest it all into this awesome coffee shop out in Southeast Topeka. And this was 2 years before coffee shops were popping up in every corner.
Right.
Kind of crazy what's happened with that stuff. But they want to turn a bank branch into a coffee shop. And I'll tell you what, you talk about something, you could have a $10 million job over here and a $200,000 job over here. But this is Darlene and Chris's, this is everything for them. And it has to go good, and it has to go perfect. Right. It has to go better than perfect. You have to help them do a better job than what they would have done on their own, more efficiently, faster, all that. So, I mean, jobs like that, when somebody just totally, they take everything that they've got and they trust you with it, those are the most important jobs, in my opinion. So every job is very, very important, but when somebody like Darlene and Chris are trusting you to move forward to something, and they've done such a good job over there, I'm sure that you guys are familiar with it.
Oh, it's
Definitely.
like my favorite, if I can say that.
And
yeah,
the messages they leave on the cups too.
It's the best.
Yeah.
And they take their location, where they're in between Highland Park and Shawnee Heights, and they really just emphasize that.
They're very much a community-first coffee shop.
Absolutely.
In a way.
Giving back too. They have 2 scholarship awards. They're always advertising that. You always leave Milk and Honey feeling better than where you started, right? Yeah, it's a great place. And truthfully, I did not realize that was Senne's project. So awesome job. That's what an incredible.
We were just that was us assisting Darlene and Chris. I mean, they had everything together on that, but we helped them out with a few ideas. The fabrication shop, that was an old bank, as you guys know.
Right.
And they had bulletproof windows and bulletproof teller screens and things like that, and we were able to turn that into furniture for them. So,
wow.
Yeah, if you go in there, the big main table is a bulletproof glass, and one of the doors.
We're gonna have to look for that now.
We retrofitted one of the pieces of bulletproof glass to be a door in there, because everybody in Shawnee Heights and Highland Park remembers that being a bank.
Yeah.
I mean, it obviously looks like one from the outside, but everybody on that side of town grew up going there with their parents, and they wanted to. That was one way to kind of
Have a nod, yeah.
A little bit of nostalgia there and some bulletproof here and there. And yeah, so Darlene and Chris's job was great, milk and honey. They're all special. So, I mean, you can't just, it's hard to leave things out. But right now we're working at the Shawnee County Courthouse. And this one's special because of the logistics and it's a very, very public job, fully occupied. The courts are in there. Departments like the Treasurer's Office, the Register of Deeds, the Sheriff's Department's in there. I mean, it's just a fully occupied and full-scale renovation that is working with, Nelda Henning is the in-house architect over there, so working side by side with her every single day and putting this jigsaw puzzle together, that's been a big challenge and a fun project too. So anytime that it's not a totally straightforward job, you get to use your head a little bit. You got to schedule, coordinate, rethink things, rethink them after you rethought them, and then be ready for somebody to throw a wrench in your tire in the process too. So it's all those things all at once, and it's every single day. So that's a very, very fun.
That sounds like what I imagine running a small business is like, right?
You're right. I mean, every single day, you just never know what's going to hit you, including getting asked to do a podcast.
Right. Well, we're so grateful you came on, and like I mentioned a minute ago, we do want to circle back and give you the final word, Matt. But we'd be remiss if we didn't highlight the rest of this year's award winners. So we're going to do that now. One of those winners was Yes Athletics. They took home this year's Emerging Innovation Venture Award. They're a woman-owned sporting goods company that designs and produces wrestling gear specifically for women and girls. Another winner was Civium Architecture and Planning, which took home the Micro Enterprise Award. This local company helps create civic, commercial, and residential buildings that elevate communities. And one of the recent projects actually includes the new Immaculata Catholic Church in St. Mary's. A third is Supersonic Music and Treehouse Drums, which won the Small Business Exporter Award. They're known for creating world-class custom drums that have become very popular around the globe.
That's right, India. And Chavez Inc. is another one of our winners this year. The third-generation family business has been serving the Topeka area for more than 50 years. Matt, you mentioned them earlier, by offering restoration and cleaning services. And Chavez took home the 2023 Minority-Owned Small Business Award. Our next winner is Custom Skin Med Spa at His and Her Salon and Day Spa. With 26 years of experience in beauty and wellness, the owner of this business has an eye for advancing the industry and those in it. Custom Skin Med Spa, took home this year's Women-Owned Small Business Award. And last but most certainly not least is our Veteran-Owned Small Business Award. This year's winner was Rick's Advanced Dermatology and Radiance Medical Spa. A native Topekan, Rick served with the military for 24 years before returning home to open his small business.
That is just fantastic. And we do want to give a special congratulations to each of our 2023 Small Business Awards winners. All of those organizations, as we know, are doing great things for Topeka and Shawnee County, and we really could not be prouder.
And Matt, congratulations again to Senne Company on being named Small Business of the Year. Final word and thought, what has this honor meant to you?
I'll tell you what the honor is very, it's totally unexpected. It means the world, and it means the world because a customer nominated us. It was Azura Credit Union who we found out kind of after the fact, but that's cool. What makes it special. I mean, it was Azura that nominated it. Somebody looked at it. I don't know if it was you two or somebody else.
It's an independent review committee. We got to say,
yeah.
Somebody needs to question them a little bit. Somehow, I mean, it means the world because it was unknown to us. There was other people looking at us, and they, for some reason, selected us to win an award. So, I mean, it validates some things. I mean, I hope it means that we're doing a good job, but, it just means the world that a customer nominated us for that. So I think, I don't know. I mean, the whole point of a small business being a small business is that you have that ability to be flexible, nimble, think outside the box. And, it's a reminder, you just can't lose that either. Mm-hmm. So you got to stick after it. You got to, the advantages of a small business, you really need to focus on those when you're working with a customer. And I think that makes you shine, when, if your competition is maybe quite a bit bigger than you and they can see that, boy, these folks really came up with some different ideas and they presented them in a different manner. And I think you really just got to stay true to what those characteristics of a small business are, and that's what we plan to do.
And like you were saying, Matt, earlier, staying true to the history. 100 years is a long time, but some of your core values still remain. And one of that is being a small business in and of itself and looking out for others in the community. So,
well,
Absolutely.
and to be in the mix with so many amazing small businesses too is just phenomenal. And hopefully we see even more nominations next year.
That would be
because we know how
awesome.
many small businesses there are in this community doing great things. So, yeah,
I'll make a nomination next year. So
there you go.
we've
Pass
got-
it on.
Paying
Pay
it forward.
Yeah.
yeah, some tremendous people that we get to work with every day. So, yep, you betcha. I will definitely make a nomination next year.
I love that. Well, and for all of you listening at home too, nominate your favorite small business for next year's Small Business
Each
Awards.
spring, right, India?
Each spring. Yep, there you go. We usually hold the award ceremony in May. So, yeah. Well, Matt, it has been a true honor to have you on the Topeka Talk podcast. I think that about wraps up our conversation today. And, we're just thankful to have you here.
Hey, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt, and congratulations.
Thanks for listening. We hope you'll join us next time.
You can catch new episodes of Topeka Talk Community Conversations the first week of each month.